first, I'm going to throw over to our first speaker, which I think I've put Katie as our first speaker. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm
Okay.
really excited. Just to preface, I've invited Katie because you shared this design on Twitter and Wild Labs, and we've heard a lot about it from our community about how interested people were about it, and also it got a good mention in our last Variety Hour as well. So we're excited that you were able to join us this month and share it more in person. So thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for inviting me. So I'm Dr. Katie Dunkley, a junior research fellow at the University of Cambridge. And today I'm going to talk to you about a long-term stereo camera we've designed and tested that records aquatic species presence, abundance, and behavior over around 2 days. So the camera rig is actually presented in more detail in our recent open access paper in Methods in Ecology and Evolution. So in ecological and behavioral studies, video, AI, and tracking methods are increasingly being used to autonomously identify species and quantify their abundance and behaviors. So these methods enable the analysis of large volumes of video data from which we can gain high resolution and autonomous insights into animals' movements, postures, and behaviors, allowing us to answer a wide range of ecological and conservation-focused questions. While such methods work well in lab environments, there are additional challenges when attempting to capture similar data in natural environments in which animals are free to move in three-dimensional space, varying in their depth and orientation in the Z plane. So this makes it challenging then to quantify their sizes, orientations, and movements. If we record in stereo, however, with two cameras capturing slightly different views of the same scene, we can then perceive these depth and three-dimensional information. So using this depth information, we're then able to quantify the locations, orientations, and movement trajectories of animals. And then these positional and movement data can then be used to autonomously quantify behaviors and interactions from video data. Now we can capture high quality and high resolution video in stereo with a camera setup that can also record longer than kind of the standard battery life of a normal underwater camera like a GoPro. We'll also be able to capture rarer species in complete behavioral repertoires, which will allow us to further our understanding on how wild animals interact with others and their environment. So therefore, we set out to design and build an underwater camera system that can continuously capture multi-day in situ three-dimensional stereo footage. So these cameras would then be useful for continuously recording aquatic species and their behaviors and interactions in high resolution. So the long-term camera we developed is based around a Raspberry Pi components and can record for up to 22 hours across 2 days. The Raspberry Pi camera here records in 1080p resolution and up to 30 frames per second, and the Pi saves the video onto an external hard drive. The camera is powered completely by a USB portable power bank that is simply plugged into the Pi board and can then be removed to charge. The real-time clock, just down here, is also lets users specify start and stop recording times, meaning that the cameras can automatically start and stop filming over multiple days. So the user can then modify video length, video quality, and quantity to suit different sampling designs. And we provide all of this open source instructions and running codes for these cameras on the project's GitHub. Now we place these camera components within a Blue Robotics ROV housing and screwed it onto our lightweight travel-friendly rig, which was constructed from aluminium profile. Now the rig is light enough to swim with in order to position it in its sort of desired position underwater, but it's also flat packed as well to allow for easy transport between sites. Now cameras are attached to the rig on fixed plates, which are angled inwards to capture this overlapping reef scene or underwater scene, and the distance and angle between the two cameras can be adjusted by the user depending again on the study requirements. So once video data has then been collected, the videos from both cameras must be synchronized in time and space in order to triangulate and quantify things like animal size, positions, and orientations in 3 dimensions. So this synchronization first involves matching frames between the left and right cameras using a flashing light that's visible in both fields of view. And then following this temporal calibration, the relative positions of the cameras on the rig then need to be calculated, which you can do by detecting an object like a checkerboard here with known dimensions that's present in both cameras' fields of view. Now, once these calibration stages are then complete, it's then possible to project the location of key points from both the left and right cameras into three-dimensional space. And we provide all the open source instructions for this calibration on the project's GitHub. These Python-based instructions are user-friendly, require minimal Python knowledge, and can be used for any camera setup actually that has a checkerboard for calibration. Now, before I finish, I just want to quickly highlight an issue that I had relating to camera focus that I had to deal with pretty quickly when we first started trialing these. So on our cameras, we fitted dome ports, which are advantageous over sort of a flat port front because they reduce refraction issues like magnification and radial distortion. However, then this initially creates problems then with camera focus. As for dome ports, the camera has to focus on a virtual image that's a lot closer to the camera than if there was a flat port. And it's unclear on land where this point is, which is super helpful. So after trial and error and lots of tweaking, we did manage to optimize the focus. And again, we've added additional information on this process to help others in the manuscript and on the project's GitHub. So today I've introduced our open source camera system, the rig and post-processing code, which offers a portable solution for recording and analyzing continuous 3D underwater video over extended periods. This system eliminates trade-offs between sampling frequency, resolution, and long-term data collection, which allows us to capture species presence, behaviors, and interactions in details within underwater environments. So these data are then crucial and helpful for addressing ecological questions related to how species impact aquatic ecosystem function. So while the cameras do work well, I'm actually looking to upgrade the Raspberry Pi high quality camera for another and to optimize the focus further. So if anyone has any suggestions on suitable cameras that may work with this, I'd be really grateful to hear them. But otherwise, thanks very much for listening to me today. And if I have time, I'm more than happy to take any questions.
That was awesome. Thanks, Katie. I think people can pick your question up in the chat, and we'll also post it on Wild Labs as well, so you should get some feedback there. But Kim had a question. Robin, okay. Kim was wondering, is the data stored on SD cards, and do you ever encounter SD card corruption?
So the data is saved across to a solid state drive. Which are kind of a bit more stable than perhaps a micro SD card it's in the Pi. We use the solid state drive to sort of maximize the amount of data that can be stored in one deployment, but actually the file sizes from the camera are quite small. But we always download the data after every drop away onto sort of another hard drive. So we've got multiple copies, but haven't had any problems per se with the kind of corruption of the hard drive. Yeah.
Awesome. Kim gives you a thumbs up as a good choice. Robin's wondering, can you measure the size and volume of animals from the system?
Size and volume of the animals? Sorry.
Yeah.
So we were aiming to, can you measure? Yes. So as long as you have 2 points on the animal and they're triangulated in space, you then should be able to calculate the distance between them. So the calibration process takes the checkerboard with known dimensions, so you know the size of the board, and it then translates the coordinates then into real world measures. So you can sort of definitely quantify sizes of the animals from that. Yeah.
I have one question to wrap up. What was the most unexpected? Okay, Lauren's asking some more questions that you can pick up, but I was wondering, what was the most unexpected challenge that you found, like designing and building this system and deploying it?
Yeah, so my biggest challenge was actually the focus, and it was something that you don't think about until you actually see it underwater, because on land the cameras went on a kind of a normal focus. They're in focus, and I was sort of focusing it like a GoPro and trying to focus sort of infinitely, but then when you put them underwater, it was just like I showed in that video, is completely out. And then the actual optimal focus for underwater, if you look at the footage on land, it's out of focus. So it's quite counterintuitive and really hard to figure out, and it took a huge amount of trial and error and kind of reading the theory to sort of fix it. And it's still my little bugbear, I think, with the cameras actually.
Awesome. Okay, if anyone's got a suggestion on Katie's question about upgrading the camera and the Raspberry Pi, can you drop into the chat? But otherwise, thank you so much, Katie.